Hey, this is Matt once again. What about another review? Another paid request, this time for Ronald. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, feel free to send them either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now, this is for the film Gerald's Game. Now, Gerald's Game I heard of because it was a Stephen King novel. I haven't read much of the novels, but I do like a lot of his adaptation film work. Meaning, I love Maximum Overdrive. I know Stephen King hates it. I'm glad he was on cocaine when he made it, because he made a damn fun movie. I love The Running Man. I like Cujo. I like Christine. I love The Shining. Even though Stephen King hates it, I think Stanley Kubrick did a damn good job with it. I like the 1990 It. I like a lot of them. Not all of them, but I like a lot of them. Now, Gerald's Game stars Carla Gugino and Bruce Greenwood. You also have Henry Thomas, Elliot from E.T. He's in this, playing a very creepazoid. And it's from a director, I forgot his name, the same guy that directed Dr. Sleep. And I will say the director definitely has some talent. There's a film he did that a lot of people were perplexed that I liked, but I really liked it. It was called Hush, from 2016 or so. It's about a lady that, God, I'm trying to remember now. It's been a while since I've seen it. She's deaf, but then she can barely speak, and there's like a stalker outside her home, or her place, I should say, at the time. Place she's at, I should say. Anyway, I thought it was a pretty damn good movie. I actually want to rewatch it again. It's been a while. I remember I did that review, and then it's actually one I liked, but what the fuck? Why did you like this movie? I'm like, just of what I said in the review. But hey, if people don't like it, that's fine. I just like, okay, I don't think it was as bad as some people made it out to be. And I said I did like Dr. Sleep. It's not a film I rewatch much, but I do remember liking it with Ewan McGregor. Not nearly as good as Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, but better than the Shining miniseries. But I do think the director is decently talented. Didn't give a shit about Oculus. Don't care about that stuff, but Hush and Dr. Sleep I did like. And there's another one I did like. I did not mind this one. Mainly for Carla Gugino's performance. I thought she's the main driving force. She's the one that knocked out of the park. She's the one that deserves the trophy. Carla Gugino, I remember from Son-in-Law, Pauly Shore, because she played what becomes the girlfriend of Pauly Shore. She's in college. Pauly Shore is like, hey, relax. She invites him home to the country. But yeah, she was in The Son-in-Law. I enjoyed her in that. She was also in The One, playing Jet Li's wife. She was in Watchmen. But she did a really good job in this. Excellent job. Bruce Greenwood, who was Captain Pike in J.J. Abrams' Star Trek movies, he's in here as the husband. It's a couple that go out to a retreat. He wants to get frisky, takes his Viagra pill, handcuffs her, and then in the middle of it starts wanting to do a rape fantasy, and she's not into it, understandably. Then he starts complaining, and blah, 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 and then he has a heart attack. Falls right on top of her. And now she's handcuffed. This guy's dead. There's a wild dog that can come in and out of the house. What's she gonna do? So now she's trying to figure out how to survive. She's dealing with hallucinations. And you find out she's also dealing with some trauma from when she was 12. And finally come to grips for what happened back in the day. Find the strength to rescue herself. And live a better life. And I'm a sucker for those kind of movies. You know, those kind of survival type of movies. You know, this is a lady you could tell buries her problems deep within. And like I said, Carla Gugino really knocked out of the park. You could tell she's very shy. Like I said, she doesn't really want to complain. And then these hallucinations where she starts hallucinating her husband, who's like the negative part. You know, the devil, angel. You see cartoons, like a devil on one shoulder, the angel on the other. Bruce Greenwood was like the devil part, and a version of herself, a much stronger, on point, chin up version of herself is on the other side. And the way Carla Gugino plays both parts, it doesn't come off as hammy, doesn't come off as corny, but you just see a difference between the two. Like, this one's more sure of herself, this one not as much. And kind of, they're both versions of herself. One's trying to wake her up. You gotta fight this, you gotta escape. The other, oh, this is hopeless, come on, you always run away from your problems. I will say there's a part of me that thinks this could have worked better as a 50-minute episode of a show. I don't know if there's enough there for the full running time. Because I will say there are points of this that dragged for me. It didn't feel as intense as compared to like Misery, which is another Stephen King one location. The director does pull off some interesting visuals, like this bit with the eclipse from her childhood, and sometimes she visualizes it, and when she does and remembers some stuff, the whole place is red, the skies are red, there's a red light on her. I thought that looked kind of cool. There's chunks of the movie that do work for me, where it's just what's going to happen next factor, whether it be realizing she's dealing with hallucinations, this dog that is running wild that gets in and out and even starts feeding on the husband a bit and his dead body, trying to figure out how to get to drink some water and using her brain to figure out how to do it. How much do I give away? Well, I'll go into spoilers now. Why not? Pretty much from time to time, this figure comes in, who she names the Moonlight Man. I'll be honest, that was my least favorite part of this movie. I know people have reviewed this and call it, I know it's in the book, I get it, and it's supposed to be this more sense of danger, but I never felt it. I was never scared by this guy. I was never creeped out by this guy. At times I found it laughable. I'll get to why in a minute. But that was the least interesting part of it, and I didn't care for that. And the big chunk of the ending, like the last 10 minutes, a chunk of it is about that stuff. And went... Because, number one, maybe this is part of it, it's Lurch from the 1990 Addams Family movie. And Addams Family Values. I'm looking like, wait a minute, is that Lurch? And I had to look up on the phone, I'm like, that is Lurch. Holy shit, that's Lurch. And now that took me out of the movie. I'm just thinking, that's Lurch. Oh wow, he got another job, and he didn't act menacing. Maybe that's the point, because he wasn't being over the top, okay. But it's like he's in the corner, then he comes out, she's like, you're not real. And then he opens up a bag with bones, then he walks away. And then later on, there's points where she sees him or visualizes him, he's got these red eyes, and that looked fucking goofy as shit. The points where she sees him, he's got these red eyes. They look like the shit that was in Storm of the Century. When the bad guy had these red glowing eyes, it looked ridiculous in that too. It looked ridiculous, the red glowing eyes. It does. It looks silly. It looks like, you know, a Halloween costume or, you know, Halloween toy. That looked goofy as shit. I'm like, Lurch, come on. Go back to the Addams Family. You were not rained. You rained? No, I did not. Go home, Lurch. Go home. And then you find out he wasn't, I mean, at the end, he was a killer, but he was a grave robber, and he only went after men. And I guess, like, you think the dog ate the face of the husband, but it was actually him. And we don't see that, but that stuff just did nothing for me. I know it did for a lot of people, but I thought it was just really ridiculous. I thought what was more interesting was her and her struggle to get out of the situation, and her regaining her courage, her stuff buried down, deep down. Because in a flashback, Henry Thomas plays Carla's dad. Again, Henry Thomas from, you know, the kid in E.T. And when she was 12 years old, they went to see an eclipse. Oh, I know you. Come on, I know you're not too old for this. Sit on my lap. And as she's watching the eclipse, he was jerking it. Now, thankfully, we don't see it. It's done in a way where you get the creepy idea what's going on, but it's not exploitive. It's not exploitive. And it definitely makes you hate it. And then afterward, he manipulates her by saying, we should tell. I mean, it's going to ruin our family and blah, 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 but we should tell. Now, granted, part of me is like, well, what if she said yes? Okay, let's go tell him. Hey, Mom, Dad was jerking off when I was at the eclipse. I'd love to see what Henry Thomas had to say after that. But I guess you're to assume that he knew what kind of person she was, and she would go along with that, so he's manipulating her. Which does happen, sadly, in the state of life and affairs, sadly, is that people, and kids especially, do get manipulated in that fashion. Where, oh yeah, you know what, it was wrong, let's go tell him. I mean, it's gonna fuck things up. No. Okay, are you sure? We should tell him, because if we don't tell him now, we can't tell him ever. So, I just see people going, what the fuck, why didn't the girl just tell him? What if he called her, what if he called his bluff? I can understand that, but sadly, with enough stories out there, that is sadly believable. I mean, it's happened to various people. It's too bad. And it's about this, you know, lady confronting her fears of her past. And how do I put it? Carla Gugino really sold the shit out of this film, and she's really the main reason why I liked it. I didn't love it. Like I said, I think at times the pacing drags. I did not give a shit about the Moonlight Man. I thought he was ridiculous. I thought it was silly. I kept thinking of Lurch, because it is Lurch, or again, times where he's glowing red eyes. It looked silly. Peekaboo, I see you. But Carla Gugino, super spoilers, you find out she's talking to her younger self in her dreams. Yes, I do remember, okay, I remember this and that. It's like, no. The 12-year-old girls, no. You're not understanding. After that. And during that night at dinner, the daughter was asked something and she broke the glass. And then Carla, oh, there's a glass of water here because the husband took Viagra. Breaks the glass. Now, let me ask you, if you dislocate your thumb, wouldn't that help with handcuffs? It would hurt still, like a fuckload. But wouldn't, like, breaking your thumb, dislocating it, work better than literally taking glass, cutting the wrist? It's a real nasty effect. I'll say that. It's a very gory effect. Because she cuts the wrist, and she does this, and the skin peels off. So the skin almost peels off her damn hand. Like fucking Hellraiser. Gory, nasty, good effect. But I'm sitting there going, well, if you break your thumb, like you're dislocated, would that work better, or is that just me remembering a bunch of action movies where the bad guys would do, like, get out of handcuffs? Would that, or does that not work? Why doesn't she, like, break her thumb, or something, or... Or I'm thinking, you know, well, how... I don't know, let's see some other stuff, but... No, this is getting pretty nasty effect. It definitely made me go, ouch. I will say that. And as I said, Carla Gugino, I keep harping on this. Well, it's not even harping, I keep repeating this ad nauseum. That she brought the emotions. She didn't feel fake. She didn't feel phony. The only time that happened was at the very end, and that's not because of her. It's because the dialogue got a bit fluff piece. Because she's able to get out, and then she drives, and she sees that stupid fucking Moonlight Man with the "Hey, Mouse," because her nickname that her dad gave her was Mouse. She crashes the car. She gets saved, patched up. And then I'm like, wow, this is short. Wait a minute. There's like 15 minutes left of the movie as an epilogue recap. I just see how some people would be feeling the... You know how you have the tires and they feel deflated? The air's let out. I just see people feeling that. Like, This is an exposition of explaining who the Moonlight Man was. He was real. It wasn't a film of imagination. Blah, blah, blah. And the Moonlight Man became... He was real, but also became sort of a physical bit of her past people that scared her. Like her father, like her husband. Because she goes into court, and this is where I guess some of the stuff was a bit messy to me. First off, having lines like, "I think we deserve the sun." A little bit ham-fisted. I get what they were going for, heart in the right place, but "I think we deserve the sun"? I don't know. Also, during this arraignment, she just enters the courtroom, walks between... There's this 8-foot-tall guy who just rips the fucking handcuffs, whatever, repeats what she said to him on that night. Because when she left, she saw him walk by, gave him the wedding ring. "The Moonlight Man, you're not real." Walked away. So he repeats the same thing. As she walks up, she visualizes her husband and her father, and she's like, "You're a lot smaller than I remember." It was supposed to be an ironic thing that this guy's so tall and scary, but then, you know, she's grown as a character. My main thought was, why the fuck is no one grabbing her and holding her back? That was my thought. Like, what the fuck? Like, no one's yelling, shouting, "Oh my god, this guy's gonna get loose. What the fuck you doing, lady? Get the fuck back there. Get her back out there. What are you doing? Get her out of here." No guards are, like, grabbing her, pulling her back. No, it's just, we can't do that because she's alone in the middle while people are on the court. I'm like, no. People be like, "What the fuck you doing, lady? Get the fuck out of here," you know. I imagine anyone who's been into a courtroom, which thankfully I never have, but I've seen them on TV, or anyone who works in it would be fucking losing their mind at this scene. What the fuck? Like, "You're a lot smaller than I remember." Yeah, you know what? She'd be, "You're a lot small." Someone's like, "Who the fuck are you, lady? Get the fuck over here, you know. Get back here. Stay away, lady, stay away." Or at least yelling at her. "Don't go near him, what the fuck you doing?" But, you know, she says it, she walks out, you know, she's free. of her fears and the movie. So like I said, I don't mind the initial idea. I think it's kind of interesting, the hallucinations where her husband, who was a dick, is the negative side, and the stronger version of her is the positive side. One's trying to bring her up, one's trying to put her down. I did some of the dream bits with the red and the eclipse, kind of cool visuals. Carla Gugino knocked out of the park. She kept me involved in the movie. She was emotional, but she wasn't. I did, other than the very end, because of the dialogue, I don't think she was ham-fisted before. Her tied-up self and her stronger self, I saw definitely a difference between the two. I think she worked her ass off in this. I don't care if it was in the plot. The Moonlight Man was not scary to me. Maybe it was the way he looked, maybe the way he acted, maybe because just, I think of Lurch. Maybe because the little bits with the red eyes, it just all looked silly, goofy, ridiculous, and just, again, kind of took me out of the movie. It did take me out of the movie. Now, I mean, if it was like a shadowy figure that we never saw his face, maybe until the end and you realize, or we never see his face, so she just sees her husband, she sees her father, and we don't see the face, but she goes, "You're a lot smaller than I thought." Left. And give the audience that mystery. It's a man in shadow that will like fuck around and play around and scare her. And is it real? Is it not real? But I just... he looked like a giant troll from... or something. I mean... I don't know. So, great job, Carla Gugino. Interested to see her go from son-in-law with Pauly Shore to this, but she knocked out of the park. It's worth a watch for her. I would never see the film again. I would say I like Hush and Dr. Sleep more, but it's not a bad movie. I think it's a flawed movie, but I don't think it's a bad movie. But with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.